Okay, my name is Joanna with Blissful Baby, and I'm here with Katie. And we just finished sleep training two of her children, her daughter, who's 27 months at the time of sleep coaching, and her son, who was 4 years old at time of sleep coaching. And when Katie called me, she was exhausted because it had basically been 4 years of battling bedtime. And she was the sole caregiver at the onset of sleep at bedtime and co-sleeping all night long, and the kids needing her and competing for her and rejecting dad. And Katie is a dentist, and so she had these long days where she had to do these, a huge 45-minute commute to work, have the children go into daycare, that she would go do her 9 or 10 hour shift at the clinic, pick up the kids, have to hustle home, and roll right into this chaotic battleground bedtime sequence. And she'd finally had enough. So Katie, and Katie finally had enough, but Katie was super skeptical. She's like, I don't know about this sleep coaching thing. So Katie, why don't you speak to that?
Right. So, I had no doubt that sleep coaches could be helpful, but I really had this vision that the training process was going to involve hours upon hours, night after night of being up throughout the night to do it, maybe weeks at a time. I don't know. And I really just didn't think I had the energy to do it. I was exhausted and I knew it took work. I didn't obviously have probably a realistic expectation of what that was, because in the end it turned out much better than my expectations. But
like not as enough work. It wasn't like you were up all night after night with crying, screaming children, chaos. It was way easier and less demanding on your physical, mental, emotional energy.
Yeah. So if anybody has that in mind, I would say, at least in our experience, that wasn't the case.
And that usually is the case. So I'm glad that you brought up that one of the reasons why you had skepticism was not that it would or wouldn't work, but more like from you, because you were already the primary caregiver and you knew you would be taking on the role of the coach, that you were like, I'm already exhausted. How am I going to possibly garnish any more energy to apply it to a resolution of a problem and make sure it sticks, so I don't end up back in this situation again 2 weeks later because it was a failed attempt? And so it's almost like, what if it took too much of me? What if I didn't have enough to give? Or what if it took too much from me? And then God forbid it never even worked. It was like all three of those together. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's legit. That's legit, because your experience with two children over 4 years had been nothing but hard. And it was already taking hours and hours for them to go to sleep or to go back to sleep. So it was kind of like, how could sleep coaching actually be less involved and time consuming, energy consuming than what I was already doing?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So what's life like now, Katie?
Completely different.
Okay.
In under a month, or maybe just at a month. Both kids are sleeping on their own. They are falling asleep on their own. They can do it by 7:30, staying asleep in their beds the entire night. And yeah, it is totally different.
And before, they were falling asleep like late, weren't they? Yes. Like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
9:30, yeah.
Which meant you had no time in the evening.
Yeah.
And again, there you were working, basically a 12-hour shift, rolling into bedtime, racing home, trying to get them fed. And then the whole evening was like a battleground of everyone having tantrums and meltdowns and
yeah.
So
we still have the crazy day schedule, but it just feels manageable now.
Yeah.
And I think we enjoy their dinner times much more. The evening is just calmer. They know the expectations and they just go with it. There's no fighting. Yeah.
And also we solved the mom preference issue, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us
So-
about that. Like, tell us about how hard that was being the only caregiver for that many years in a row.
Right. Well, I was putting them to bed every night. Sometimes I was taking a few hours at a time. And then throughout the night, I would be the one getting up with both of them. So they just, our youngest, the 2-year-old, would flat out say, no, papi, no, papi, mommy, 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 despite, him trying to help out. So this has changed all of that. We both now work on putting them to sleep. We each take a kid a night and do their bedtime routine at the same time so that
Yeah. So the kids are now on a parallel schedule, which is awesome and amazing, like huge benefit there. And she can flip flop. So dad can put this kid tonight and then this kid tomorrow night, and the kids don't start to compete for mom's attention. And also dad is now having the experience of having a lovely,
he is
calm, connected time with each individual child, when before he was just getting flat out rejected. And wanting to help and just was put out of the picture, and then just terrible dilemma for a family to be in, which I see frequently, and that's one of the things I always want to help families with. I want it to be as easy for each individual parent or any caregiver that comes, whether it be a babysitter or grandma or whatever. I mean, we're in the land of COVID, so it's a little bit different right now, but eventually I'd love you guys to be able to feel comfortable and confident that any caregiver could come and be equally successful in helping your children go to sleep peacefully and on time.
Yeah.
So what would you tell those moms and those dads that are like, I don't know about this whole thing. I don't think it's going to work for me. Tell them now.
If it worked for us, it has to. Yeah. I know it's an investment and it's a jump and a leap of faith, but I only wish we had done it sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like you got your life back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's better. Now we have 2 kids,
that are happier. Yeah. That are happier and like these, much more like they wake up happy and not cranky and miserable and tantrumy all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's true. So Katie's a believer.
So grateful. Yeah. 100%.
And you know what, Katie, we had some fun, right? I mean, so this is the thing, right? This is the takeaway. Katie thought this was going to be this horrible, awful, treacherous, exhausting, just like, I don't have any more to give. Please don't ask me. And did we have like
Yeah, we did. We had laughs and I learned a lot about each kid along the way. Little things that, shone through. And
and your spouse learned a lot. Your spouse learned a lot.
He did. Yeah.
So now we've got more co-parenting. It's a lot smoother.
We do.
Awesome.
Amazing. We're very grateful. We really are.
Yay. Sleep matters.
Does it? Yeah.
Thank you, Katie.
You are welcome, Joanna.
I'm so glad that you are blissfully sleeping. I love when moms are well rested. I love it. Okay.